You spoke about being in a simulation earlier. I love The Matrix.
Yes.
If you were to be a character from The Matrix, who would you be?
Well, there's not that many characters to pick from, Hopefully not Agent Smith. He's my hero. Neo's pretty cool. The architect is interesting.
The Oracle.
It's the Oracle. Sometimes I feel like I'm an anomaly in the Matrix.
That is Neo.
Yeah.
Do you believe you're in a Matrix though? Like actually believe?
I think you have to just think of these things as probabilities, not certainties. There's some probability that we're in a simulation.
What percentage would you attribute to that?
Probably pretty high. I would say it's pretty high.
Yeah?
Yeah. So one way to think of this is to say, if you look at the advancement of video games, in our lifetime, or at least in my lifetime, it's gone from very simple video games where you've got, like Pong, you've got two rectangles and a square, just batting it back and forth, to photorealistic, real-time games with millions of people playing simultaneously. And that's happened just in the span of 50 years. So if that trend continues, video games will be indistinguishable from reality.
Right.
And we're also going to have very intelligent characters, like non-player characters in these video games. Think of how sophisticated the conversations are you can have with an AI today, and that's only going to get more sophisticated. You'll be able to have conversations that are more complex and more sophisticated than almost any human conversation. Maybe any. So then the future, if civilization continues, will be millions, maybe billions of photorealistic, like indistinguishable from reality video games, and with characters in those video games that are very deep, and where the dialogue is not pre-programmed. That's for sure what's going to happen in this level of the simulation, if you could call it. So then what are the odds that we're in base reality, and that this has not happened before?
If I were to buy into that and assume that we are in a simulation, as Neo of the story, what do you know that I don't and I can learn from?
I think most likely, if outside the simulation would be less interesting than in the simulation, because we're most likely a distillation of what's interesting, because that's what we do that's what we do in our reality. And then I do also have a theory, which is like the most interesting outcome is the most likely outcome, as seen by a third party, the gods or god of the simulation. Because when we do simulations, when humans do simulations, we stop those simulations that are not interesting. So like if SpaceX is doing simulations of rocket flights, the boring ones we discard because they're just not, we don't learn anything from those. Or when Tesla is doing simulations for self-driving, Tesla's actually looking for the most interesting corner cases, because the normal stuff we already have plenty of data on, driving on a straight road on a sunny day. We don't need more of that. We need like heavy weather conditions on a small windy road with two cars that are coming at each other with a almost head-on collision. We need like weird stuff, basically, interesting stuff. So I think that from a Darwinian perspective, the simulations most likely to survive are going to be the ones that are the most interesting simulations, which therefore means that the most interesting outcome is the most likely.
And the people who simulated our world, if one were to extrapolate, they themselves might in turn be in another simulation.
Yes.
And there could be many layers of simulation.
Yes.
Beyond all of these layers of simulation, do you think there's something? I read somewhere that you used to ascribe to Spinoza's God in a way. No
Well,
man in the sky.
I was really just pointing out that you don't have to have. It's like one of the things Spinoza was saying is that you can have morals in the absolute. You don't need to have morals to be handed to you. It's like the question is, can morality exist outside of a religious context? And Spinoza was arguing that it can.
Wasn't he arguing for the laws of nature should be where we seek our laws of morality from, to a certain extent?
Yeah.
But when I think of laws of nature, I see a tiger eat a deer and a... So, in Spinoza's morality, that's fair game, right?
You can. I think there's a lot of things you can take from Spinoza, but the only point I was making in referencing Spinoza was that you can have a set of morals that make society functional and productive without you don't necessarily have to have religious doctrine for that. So that's yeah, I think that's the main thing I was trying to say there. If there's not like a commandment not to kill, like people, it doesn't mean somebody's without that they will run around murdering people. It's like you don't have to have a commandment not to kill.
Have you played
or
GTA?
Religious edict to run around killing people. I actually I've only played a little bit of GTA because I didn't like the fact that like in GTA 5 you literally can't progress unless you kill the police, and I'm like, this doesn't work for me. I actually don't like killing the NPCs in the video games. That's not my thing, So actually, I didn't like GTA because I actually stopped when it said the only way to proceed is to shoot at the police. I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Maybe that's why us as the NPCs of our simulation are not dying.
Maybe. Anyway, I think you can just sort of say there's some common sense things that, any civilization that runs around, where people just murder each other wantonly, it's not going to be a very successful one.